Good morning. I am perplexed. Very, very perplexed. Why am I perplexed? Because I think today I'm going to be talking positively about a Disney Star Wars project. I can't believe it. I am just as in shock as you are. This is surreal. I can't believe I'm about to say good things about a Disney Star Wars production. It's so incredible. What I'm going to be talking about is, of course, the latest Disney Plus show, Star Wars Skeleton Crew. And boy, was I dragging my feet on watching it yesterday. I'm like, another Disney Star Wars production, and I didn't expect to be saying anything other than either bad things or meh things on it. But as I was watching the show, I was like, am I enjoying this? Is this, dare I say, good? Yes, that's what's happening right now. Lucasfilm made a Star Wars show that so far is good. Now we must let that sit in for a minute. We must just let our minds absorb the fact that we are talking positively about a Star Wars thing. And I think that Lucasfilm and Disney are just as shocked as everybody else that the Star Wars community at large is enjoying this show, because I looked yesterday after I finished watching it to see the Rotten Tomatoes score, and it was blank. Apparently, their review embargo for the show released the day it released on Disney Plus. So they didn't want anyone talking about this show before it released, and I think that's because they fully expected that it was going to get hate because it's a Disney Star Wars production, because they all have been. And I think that just goes to show how out of touch they are, and that they're not actually listening to the problems people have, and that they don't understand like what people would actually want. And so it's kind of, I'm talking about the higher up management at Lucasfilm, not the people who made this show specifically. I don't think that they're really in touch enough to understand the difference between why people hate the shows like they hate, like The Acolyte, and why they would like something like this. But big congratulations to the crew that worked on this show. So what makes it good? Well, let me tell you that The Mandalorian was something that it seemed that most people who watched it liked it. I never liked it to begin with because it was so ridiculously slow, and it didn't seem like we were ever getting anywhere. And honestly, that's why to this day, I've still avoided Andor, because even the people who praise it are like, yeah, but it's really, really slow. You have to take a while to get into it. And that is the main thing for me. I don't like it when things are slow. I don't like it when I'm bored with them. That is the main thing for me. So to my surprise, and I mean, Disney Plus shows in general have massive problems with pacing because they can't fit into that prestige format, but I was just so surprised in the first episode of this show. It kept up a good pace. We got somewhere quickly. Every scene seemed to develop its story and characters. I was so surprised, and it was part of what made me engaged with it from the beginning, because it was telling an actual story. We were getting somewhere, and the kids, the main characters in this show, they're all well acted. Like, these child actors are better actors than the Acolyte cast. They all do a really, really good job, and each of them bring distinct characters with distinct personalities and goals. It's basically one boy with his sidekick Blue Elephant best friend, and one girl with her sidekick tech-talking best friend. And I heard some people try to criticize the fact that the boy is the adventurous and kind of a wimpy one, and the girl's like the bully. And it's like that dynamic has existed since forever. That was the dynamic back to Littlefoot and Sarah from the Land Before Time movie, which brings me to another thing that works really, really well about the show. Land Before Time was produced by Steven Spielberg. This show is a callback to the tone and feel of Spielberg movies and Richard Donner movies. The Goonies definitely is the biggest inspiration for this show, and I'm just so surprised at how well they were able to evoke the sort of adventure and innocence of those movies of that time. And I was really worried that it would be too younger skewing, but honestly, I'm looking around and no one seems to be having a problem with that, and I didn't have a problem with it watching it. Maybe maybe a little bit when it first started, but it's overall it seems to really treat its audience with respect. And it seems that there's a greater story brewing here, because it seemed that the main character, that the planet he's on, and it shows him going to school and all that, something didn't feel right with it from the beginning. It seemed a little bit more like a dictatorship, even though it's said to be part of the Republic. Something seemed off about it. And so at first I was like, I don't know if I like this, but then they're doing something with that, because there's a big mystery where, because what happens in the show is that the kids find a spaceship, a space pirate ship. So once again, very much like Goonies, and they accidentally activate this ship and get thrown into hyperspace, and they're trying to make it back home. But whenever they tell somebody about what their home planet is called, no one seems to think it even exists, and it's a big mystery now. And you see that the dad of the main character back on the planet that he lives on is trying to contact the authorities to help save his son. But once again, it's kind of this weird totalitarian state. So it seems like they have something going on there about, like, what is the mystery behind this planet and what is the actual government on this planet. So it's a smart show so far, and I liked the main characters and I liked the tone, and I thought that it kept up a pretty good pace. And I had to see if I wasn't crazy about this show. Like, I've seen something from Disney Plus, Star Wars, that isn't bad. Am I crazy? So I got my brother to watch it, and he wasn't going to watch the show at all, and he has been completely spurned on anything Star Wars. He did not watch a single episode of The Acolyte. Got him to watch it. He said the first episode was good, and the second episode was boring. I would agree the second episode is not as good. Then again, it's only 22 minutes long. It seemed like it was just setting up this Force-using character played by Jude Law that's going to be traveling with them. So hopefully it gets better than that, but I didn't think it was bad. But you have to understand, to have my brother, who's been completely spurned on anything modern Star Wars, say that the first episode of a Disney Plus show was good, that is truly shocking. And I've seen a lot of people say that they will not check out this show because they've been spurned on everything Star Wars and it looks too younger skewing. If you like anything Star Wars or Steven Spielberg or those classic 80s movies, I think that you will love this. It's just an innocent show that feels like it was made in good faith. And I think that's the main thing, that so many of the Star Wars projects feel like they're made in bad faith and are trying to change the lore and all of that. This show doesn't do any of that. It's just its own self-contained story within the Star Wars universe. If I had any other criticism, they were really trying to evoke like modern day American aesthetics with the home planet, with the bikes and the housing and all of that. That didn't really work for me. But as we get into the show and we find out that there's something kind of strange about the planet, then I think it might work a little bit better. But that's the only thing. I enjoyed the show. I want to finish it. I hope that it keeps up and that it turns out good, because typically with Disney Plus shows, they tend to maybe start out strong and then struggle in the ending. But I'm shocked. And this just goes to show that there are people out there who can make good Star Wars content and who understand the time period that it was released in and those kinds of movies. There are people who can do this. So I think that the director and the kids, the child actors, everyone who worked on this show deserves great praise for this. And if only we would get more Star Wars content like this. But that is all I got for you guys today. What did you think of Skeleton Crew? Did you watch it at all? Are you going to watch it now after these reviews? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you, patrons, as always. If you want to support me on Patreon, check out the link in the description, and I will see you guys next time.